Brazil has a new manager. What is going on, guys? My name is Tigo. That is my good friend Kevin. This is the Tactical Foul podcast. Feel weird calling this one a podcast, the Tactical Foul mini-cast. We're not going to go long, but I'm Brazilian. Brazil has a new manager who also happens to be, well, I guess the current manager of Real Madrid, but when he takes over Brazil, he'll be the former manager. So there's a lot to talk about. I want to talk about it. I want to do a quick little episode on it before we get into that. Kevin, how are you, my good sir?
I'm doing great, man. I can't believe that it's official today. I mean, dude, it just seems like it all happened so fast. And not only that, but you did call that this was going to happen for a while. Months ago, you were telling me. I'm like, I don't know, man. And finally, it happened. I thought it was a pipe dream for Brazil to bring in Carlo, and now it's happening. So I'm very, very excited to kind of dive into those details about what we're thinking and how you feel about it, specifically as a Brazilian, because I know that Brazilians have always had a Brazilian manager coaching them, and that's pretty much always been the standard. So I know a lot of Brazilians do feel some type of way about it, and I do want to ask you, what do you think, man? What do you think about this move? Do you think it's the right move? Do you take it any sort of way that he's not Brazilian coming into this team and taking it over like this and so quickly?
I think so many people have that flawed ideology. My dad is one of them, right? I was texting my dad, and me and my dad, the moment that Dorival was hired last January in 2024, we both absolutely hated the signing. We were texting each other going like, oh my gosh, this is it. The whole thing is over. What are we doing here? Blah, 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 blah. Like, this is the worst decision. And we saw that. But when I texted him and I said, OMG, it's happening, Carlo Ancelotti is going to be the manager for Brazil, he was initially excited, and he was like, oh, wait, this is for sure the end of the Brazilian national team. How is the Brazilian national team going to be managed by someone who's not Brazilian? And my first response to him was, okay, cool. Name me the Brazilian manager that has accomplished anything. That isn't just like a rehash of like Tite or Dunga or Scolari. Like, give me the manager that has accomplished anything in his career that justifies being the manager for the best nation in the world. There's not a single other nation that gets to wear their jersey with 5 stars on it. Name me the Brazilian manager that's worthy of that. And he sat there quietly, and he shut up, and he was like, that's a great point. And I was like, that's the point. That's the point of hiring Carlo. Is it going to work? I have no idea, right? Like, Carlo's not a young buck. He's not a young man anymore, right? And that's fine. He's 65 years old. He's still got a couple of years left in him. But clearly, the point of this hire is get us to 2026. We've got talent on this squad. Really, really good talent on this squad. Get to 2026 and let's see what you can do with this squad. It's the same thing that England is doing with Tuchel. We know that Tuchel's not staying beyond 2026. It's the same thing that Germany is doing with Nagelsmann. We know that Nagelsmann isn't staying beyond 2026. Same thing with Didier Deschamps. He's staying till 2026 and he's done. You can have short-term plans that don't align with your long-term future as a nation, especially in a World Cup like run. That's what we're expecting. But like I said, I don't know what to expect from him as a manager, but what I do know is that we're going to see some big, big changes, and that Carlo is the type of manager that when he comes into that national team is going to demand respect from the players, and those players are not going to have much to say in terms of counter arguments. Whatever you've won, he did it first. Whatever you've accomplished, he's done it and then some. And I think that matters.
Yeah, and it definitely does. I do think that Carlo's a different type of manager than Brazil has ever had. We saw Dorival in the Copa America very in the, I think it was the penalties, didn't even get to speak, right? And so you can tell right away that the players don't really respect him. And Carlos completely different. He's a world class manager. He's a man's man in the sense of like he's done it all and he's very confident in what he does. I think this is a great signing for Brazil. I think he's definitely going to have him playing very free flowing because he does allow a lot of freedom within his players to kind of do what they need to do, but at the same time, he's very strict about. And I think we saw even in this Copa del Rey final, he was like, "Hey guys, we have to concentrate on trying to control the ball, trying to still instill his his tactical prowess within the team, and at the same time allow these players like Vinny or Rodrigo or Rafinha even to just kind of do what they can to get into the spaces and have that creativity to take them to the next level." Because I think that Brazil really, they're such a talented team, and there's just it's very surprising to me that no manager that they've had has been able to kind of exploit that in a sense or bring that out of them, because they've got good players all around. And to see Brazil year after year just be a disappointment is tough.
Who you
So
telling?
I'm definitely excited to just see of course, right? Well, you know, and not just as a Brazilian, but as a football fan, because you're seeing a very talented squad at the end of the day. It's the same thing with England, right? They're such a talented squad, but they've been mismanaged year after year, and I think that's very similar to Brazil. And I think bringing in someone with Carlos' experience, with Carlos' seniority, and like I said, confidence in what he does is going to be huge for you guys. And I'm very happy. I'm excited to see this. And seeing a coach like Carlo just coach at the highest level. You don't see a lot of those like really, really good coaches coach internationally. It's very rare to see. So it's something that I'm excited to see, man. And even though he's not necessarily I'm a Barcelona fan, so I'm not like a huge advocate for Carlo. I consider him one of the greatest managers in the world, one of the GOAT managers, and I think one of the greatest managers of all time. And I mean, even as a Barcelona fan, you just can't argue that. The man has done it all, and he's done it everywhere. And to see him go into this team with that has so much diverse players from all over the league, like you don't see. Brazil has players from almost every European league. There's Brazilian players in the Italian league. There's Brazilian players in the Premier League. There's Brazilian players in the Spanish, in the La Liga. So, man, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Carlo's going to do with this team for sure.
And I think the biggest thing for me is, and I think we'll end it here, and I'd love to know your guys' opinions in the comment section. Let us know, because this is such a big deal. But like, I think the biggest thing for me is that we're finally going to get a manager that's not only going to demand the respect from the players, like you said, like he's like legendary and all of the things that he's done, but he's also going to kind of, you have to respect him if you're one of the legends. We always in Brazil, we like to talk about and talk to like Rivaldo and Dinho and Kaká and all of these guys that helped R9, all of these guys that helped get us all of these stars and wore this badge with such pride and vigor. Those are the players that made me fall in love with this sport. It's those guys, you know? And I think the great thing is he's managed a ton of those guys. A ton of those guys know exactly what it means Rodrigo, to be Casemiro. Not just, and I'm not even talking about just the guys like right now. I'm talking about the legends, Kaká, R9, Dinho. Like, they know what it means to be managed by Carlo Ancelotti. They know what that means, and I think they're going to get on board, and that matters, because if you can get the legends on board, if you can
even
get
Ronaldinho, huh?
That's the thing, dude. Everybody, all of them.
In Milan.
Yes, at Milan, he was able to overlap with Dinho, Fenomeno, Kaká, Rivaldo. No, not Rivaldo. He overlapped with all of them, like almost
Yeah.
all of them,
Yeah.
all of the big names, and like even
huge.
some of the more recent guys that retired. Marcelo, when he was at Real Madrid, he overlapped with Carlo when he was there. Like Roberto Carlos was at I don't think he ever managed Roberto Carlos, but like he was at the Real Madrid facilities during Carlos' first stint as like a manager and stuff with the youth team. So like I
is
think
huge,
that
man.
matters.
This
I
is
think
huge.
that this is an ability because the Brazil squad is so loaded with talent. And if he can find a way to get Mateus Cunha, Rafinha, Vini, Rodrigo, Joe Linton, Bruno Guimaraes, Marquinhos, Gabriel, Alisson, if he can get all of these guys working in a system that highlights the jogo bonito that we know Brazil can play, watch out. I think Brazil legitimately, if he can do it, and we'll find out in June, because that's when he goes to the sideline for the first time. Watch out, because we might be headed to what might be one of the best World Cups ever. Tuchel leading England, Deschamps with the last shot with France, Nagelsmann with this Germany team that's loaded. I forget his name, the manager for Argentina, but he's already basically come out and said that this is his last World Cup. Like, this is going to be a really, really interesting World Cup. And obviously, as a Brazil fan, as a Brazilian, really excited to see what's happening. Guys, let us know all of your thoughts in the comment section below. Everything that's going on. Hit the subscribe button if you're new, because we are going to do a bunch of stuff. Arsenal deep dive once their season is over. Liverpool deep dive now that their season is over. Manchester City deep dive. Real Madrid, Barcelona, any team that you want us to do a deep dive on and their summer plans and what they should do, let us know in the comment section below. A ton of transfer news stuff. All of that stuff is coming and more. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button on the way out. My name is Tigo. That is Kevin. This is the Tactical Foul Podcast. Brazil has a new manager and I'm hype. Get on out of here.